on the rolling green. Clubs in the bag, I've got a dream. From one small town to the next tee box, a life on the road, chasing drives and shots. Fairways.
All right, good morning, everybody, and this is the Uncle Randy, and this is the Golf and Travel Show, and this is our PGA preview for the upcoming 2026 PGA Merchandise Show. And as you know, we are visiting with some of the most interesting people from around the world with the most interesting ideas coming to the PGA show this coming year. And of course, that monster of a building, as we tell everybody, wear the most comfortable shoes you can possibly imagine because it's a monster. And that smiling, wonderful looking guy that I have with me is going to be a really interesting story. He's coming from Suwanee, Georgia, and he is a creator and owner of Energy First Golf. And when you get to be my age, which is about 187 this morning, I need that energy first and then think about golf. I'm not sure that's what you mean, but Lawrence, pronounce your last name for me. Just to make sure we get it right.
It's Sigmund.
Sigmund. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I never get it wrong. I would have done it wrong. So that's why we do it that way. Lawrence, good morning. Coming to us from Georgia. How you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, it's a fantastic day. We got really nice weather here. I just played 16 hole this morning.
Well, not bad. Well, that keeps you under 70, real easy.
That's it. I shot a 74, I believe, when I left.
Yeah.
So that was good. No, thank you for having me here. Really appreciate it. This is a great opportunity. Basically, I started teaching golf in my early 30s. I'm 54 now, and I really enjoy golf. I love golf. I think golf is the best thing you can do. You know, I play all the other sports, you know, tennis, you name it. You know, the only thing I didn't play is American style football and basketball because I'm not big, because I'm not big and tall. So I find golf very fascinating. So that's how I got into teaching, because I believe for me to get better, I have to know more. So I started teaching people. So through all the years of teaching golf, I find myself contradicting myself, you know, slapping myself. So I talked to my girlfriend at the time. I say, I don't think I can do this forever because I feel I'm stressed out. And she said, well, find something better to do. And she's no longer with me. Anyway, so basically I find that golf instructions and tips, you know, obviously I'm trying to learn from all different sources, right? But I feel like I'm contradicting myself. So in the middle of the night, I would tell myself, so if I want to do this for a long time, I really want to enjoy this game, I need to know, I need to fully understand golf. From the swing, from the game, from the grass, from the equipment, pretty much everything. But first, let's start with the instructions. How do we get people better? How do we not? Because as an instructor, I feel like I can be right and I can be wrong, but I cannot contradict myself. If my information is contradicting, that means it's not going to help whoever's listening to me. I can be wrong. I can admit I'm wrong, but I cannot be contradicting. It means, oh, maybe this is right. Oh, sometimes use this. So I started thinking about golf and I started understanding and learning how to teach. So I have created this system called the FO Golf Teaching System, which I'm proud to say that all the information in our system, there's no contradictions. So basically, if you look at Energy First, it stands for Energy First, Impact Later. So in other words, when I say impact later, means we actually don't teach impact. We don't teach ball flight laws. We don't teach the moment what the club head is doing to the ball. The reason why I tell a lot of my clients that, well, you can't really throw the ball and catch the ball at the same time.
Good point.
Right. So why do you worry about impact? Right? Because the purpose of a golf swing is really deliver the ball to a target. So if you have a ball in your hand right now, if you try to throw the ball to a target, you cannot worry about if you have the ball or you have the contact of the ball, because your nervous system cannot do two things at the same time. Which is funny. So we always, through the years of teaching, you know, I always use the word Energy First, Impact Later to my students and my client. And then I would just say, well, you know, my teaching system would be FO Golf, EFIL. But what do you know? If you actually flip that, EFIL, guess what you see? you actually see life when you flip EFIL. And believe it or not, I didn't know that until someone told me. So then I started to really refine the teaching system. I believe anything you learn, like you learn English, learn a language, learn a mathematics, anything you learn, you got to have a system of learning. So the system of learning has to be based on step by step of learning. So I'm like, well, what is step by step learning of golf? There's got to be a multiplication table for math. Means you got to have rationality and logics in teaching golf instructions. You cannot go, well, maybe today I'll try this. Maybe tomorrow we're going to try that. And maybe today we're going to try, hit down on the ball. And tomorrow we're going to try to see if we can elevate. So, I believe we have come up with a standardized way of teaching golf, which is called FO Golf Teaching System. And that's what we believe. So, we're going to the show really just try to promote our brand. And I believe golf in some shape or form is not promoted correctly. I believe if you promote golf correctly, you actually don't need a PGA Tour, because golf, the value of golf is based on self-discipline, family value, friendship. Because I believe if everybody can shoot in the 80s, nobody will watch golf. Everybody will be playing. And everybody will be understanding what a good players do. It's almost like, well, how do they hit it there so far? How do they hit a draw? How do they hit a fade? How do they spin the ball? And the language, if everybody understand energy first, impact later, I believe the world of golf will fully understand what really golf is. Because I believe if you teach impact, like I say, you cannot teach catch and throw the ball at the same time. You don't have the time for that. So, and also I believe golf is a lifestyle. I also believe if everybody in the world plays golf, we will have, I repeat, we will have world peace. I absolutely believe that, because you will have purpose. Because you guys know, you have played golf a long time. Golf give a person a purpose. Why? It's because you are continuously learning. So I believe golf, if you learn golf correctly, it's good for your body. If you learn golf correctly, it's good for your soul. If you learn golf correctly, it keeps you young because you're exercising, you're walking. And the truth is, golf is 3D. So in other words, if you do a swing correctly, the 3D movement is very good for the human body, because our human body creates 2D movement. So the 3D movement actually has a therapeutic, it's almost like a therapy for the body to recover. That's what I believe. So I believe the golf world, or the golf in general, needs to be promoted correctly, not necessarily talking about new equipment, talking about, the PGA Tour players. I think golf should be for the public. And really, the PGA Tour, any tour, the purpose of a tour is sell golf clubs. That's it. What if I say that to you right now? Everybody can shoot in the 80s. You don't need new clubs every year. Then where we go from here, right?
Yeah. And getting everybody to shoot in the 80s when you only have 10% of the population able to break 100 at this point in time. And with the growth of golf since COVID, where 5-6 years ago, public golf courses, you didn't need tee times. You basically could walk up and go. COVID put a lot of new people on the courses, and there is a flood of equipment that is highly confusing. Of course, the PGA show that you're going to be at, you're going to see proving out your story exactly right, because when people see who won yesterday, Xander, nice young man, he wins on where they played in Japan yesterday, I believe. And what a great guy, come back from some problems that he had with his ribs, and long way back this whole year, and he finally wins at the end of the year. It's a great story. But when they see these guys play in the Ryder Cup, throwing in shots, 10 feet to the flag from 200 yards out with a 7-iron, people are going, yeah, that's right. That's about driver. They're looking at how in the heck are these guys that are on the Ryder Cup. All the shots that were made during the Ryder Cup were stunning, absolutely stunning, because those guys are flag seekers. And generally, it's not the way they play. The reason Scotty Scheffler doesn't do well in the Ryder Cup is that he figures out the math. He's going for the spots of the fairway, spots of the greens, make sure everything's pinned high. And he's going to, he's a long-term 4-day player to go out and win on tour. That's not the Ryder Cup. Ryder Cup is, we're gunning down flags. We're a ruthless player. We're going to go out there and gun it down. And so the person that you're talking to, wanting to shoot in the 80s all the time, if you could get everybody to shoot in the 80s all the time, after being on the board and being around this world, that would be a really interesting afternoon sitting around the bar if everybody shot in the 80s, because
I believe it's possible.
Well, it would be. I think the thing is, and I taught, the other thing I did, I put 2 million shots behind these torn up hands. That's 5 o'clock in the morning, shagging my own balls, learning from the old guys, Doug Sanders and Ben Hogan and Lee Trevino, that it's all about digging out of the dirt. I didn't have a teacher. We sat and talked. I don't know if you would know who Doug Sanders is or was, but he was an iconic player. He finished second in all the majors, and he missed an 18-inch putt to win the Open in 1971. And he and I became great friends. Actually, he has a museum about an hour from where you're at. You should go over and see it sometime. And we'd have lunch, and I'd say, and he had a very unorthodox swing, as they all did. Back in the 70s, you could tell who was hitting where, 100 yards away. Well, there's Lee Trevino, there's Arnie, there's Jack. They're all different swings, but at impact, they are all hitting it square. I don't care what they're doing. Somehow they get there. Sounds to me, let me just ask you a question about yours. When you're talking about energy first, one of the things that I've often said, you just got to let the ball get in the way of the swing. Is that what you're trying to do?
Absolutely. Yeah. But remember, absolutely, you're 100% correct. The reason why we're saying energy first, because remember, most people, again, through all the years I've taught, most people never correct coming over the top. It's because, remember, okay, so here's something really interesting. I believe there's two schools of thoughts. You can have million different ways of swing, but the energy should be the same. Meaning, you can have everybody have a different hand right, but everybody learn how to write is the same. So in other words, I always believe what we're saying is that there's no such thing as a perfect golf swing, but there is such a thing as a perfect golf energy. Because remember, you all try to deliver the ball to a target, but everybody has a different hand right style. But why do we understand each other when we write? It's because we have a basic principle. How do we write A? We write A like this.
Right.
That's the reason why everybody understands. This is what we mean by we need the world. We believe as an organization and company, we believe the world needs a standardized golf instruction. Only one way to learn. That's what we believe. Well, because
that's gonna be interesting. You're gonna put the golf book market out of business with that, because everybody, and I have them all. I actually have a book that it was in very limited production, and it's meaningless book at this point in time. But it's
well, remember, you can describe a picture in a million different ways.
Exactly.
But to draw a picture is the same.
Yeah.
If you ask someone to draw a picture, it's always start with the basic principle.
All right.
So in other words, I don't want anybody who describe a golf swing what it looks like. How do you draw the picture? It's all the same.
Yeah.
What I also believe is that if you understand, we have a blueprint, we have a system, if you start understanding, because the first stage of learning golf is called power struggle. Why? Because most adults, they use 2D power. When we say energy first, means adults must learn how to rotate the body and use rotational energy. But most people use 2D energy. Why is that? Because I'm a personal certified trainer, NFPT. I understand when I look in the gym, because the human body by nature only produces 2D power. So if you put a club in an adult's body, they're not going to use rotational power. They're not going to use rotational energy. They will use 2D power. Then they're never consistent, because in a rotational world, if you don't rotate energy first, correct energy must happen first. If you use the wrong energy, you can always hit the ball. but you're never guiding the ball to where the ball's supposed to go. Because I believe every golf instruction from day one, this learner must understand this information is about control where the ball is going, not about just hitting the ball. All the information, all the golf instructions has to be based on that principle. Control where the ball is going. Golf is the only sport most people cannot control the ball they go play.
Well, that ball doesn't stay on that club about 32 10,000ths of a second. It's not very long, and it just flashes out of there. And it is amazing how much different impact can be put on that ball when you take a look at the professional, left to right, right to left, high, low, and all these different deflections. My problem was the reason everybody looks at my hands and they go, "Why are your hands so lumpy?" And I said, all I was ever trying to do is square up the bottom at the swing, trying to keep the ball, and I was very accurate hitting it straight, but with a very bad golf swing. I mean, in the end, there was just some elements. I look at it now, probably had a better swing now at 76 than I had at 36, honestly, because now I've got to use that rotational power that you're talking about. And I always go back.
Also, you probably have less power struggle.
Well, because I think of technology, I mean, I hit the ball relatively far, but if you see the clubs I had back in the day, these are these old Ram clubs that in 1983 playing for them, same as Tom Watson, that these were cool at the PGA show. Graphite insert, persimmon, beautiful piece of persimmon, small, tiny little blades with big grooves, maybe to the point. It was when the grooves idea came out, but you were swinging the club so differently back then than they do today. You had to have a lot of rotational power. I mean, you had to really figure out where that little baby club head was going to be, that little blade, that dime size center of whatever. Let me ask you a question. When I sit and I take a look at little kids swinging a golf club, typically they become very round. I mean, sometimes I think little kids with that club being so so tremendously heavy compared to their body weight, all of a sudden they're, slow swing, storing up energy, boom. And then, they have to swing through and they have a beautiful follow through. And that could be, I often thought, boy, if I could swing like a 4-year-old, loading up just like they do and having that heavy club in my hands and just letting the ball get in the way. It's really amazing watching a little kid swing a golf club. I mean, they're really pretty good just because they have to be.
Well, because they have no power struggle.
Right. Exactly.
Because their muscles not formed yet. They don't have adult 2D power and they don't have 2D tension. So that's the reason why it's easy to learn golf when you're a kid. Because believe me or not, I have videos that look at toddler. Toddlers, the strongest muscles besides the heart is their stomach. Toddlers got very strong stomach. Because if you learn how to walk, your core must balance your legs.
Yeah.
So basically what we're saying energy first means how do we use your center to rotate? And for kids, because they have less stress on the arms, they don't have a lot of muscles, so they can use the arms. And really, we believe that, most people, obviously, you have people who's privileged that started playing golf young. But what we try to say is that golf can be so beautiful because adults in the 20s, if they learn golf correctly, they can play this game until they, can't walk. Yeah. But most people are frustrated. Most people are guessing and they're not learning. The point what we try to do is energy first, impact later is a lifestyle. It's FO life. We call it FO life. It means you must understand the proper principle of emotion and where you're not learning based on contradictions and your growth is continuous based on building blocks.
Well, listen, Lawrence, I hate to bring this to an end. I think you're going to have a fantastic time at the PGA show. I know you're passionate. I can't wait to meet you down there because we can talk.
Oh, I'd love to.
We're going to be bumping into a hard out here in about 2 minutes. But when you get down there, I just wanted everybody to know your booth is 1800A. That's the number, and it'll be as everybody can see it here. But yes, anybody wants to come talk to Lawrence, how many of your instructors are you going to have with you? How many of your team going to be there?
We're going to have me, Levan, Jason, and another Jason, and then a lady. So we're going to have 5 people there.
All right, great. Well, we got to get you going here. Get the word out on this show, the PGA Preview, and that's with Lawrence Sigmund and Energy First Golf.
Energy first, impact later. All right,
Energy
thank you,
first.
Randy.
Thank you very much. And you have a great day down in Georgia. You know, we're getting weather for ready for the winter hibernation here just west of Chicago. That's why I love Georgia. You know, you have Peachtree State, and it's, well, you know, you're in an area where it gets a little cool. I used to take a big group down to Callaway Gardens every year. And
Yeah.
you know where that is, beautiful place. And but I love Georgia. But anyway, Lawrence, as my grandfather always said, and as we say at the end of this, always leave a better footprint because you never know who's watching. So
That's
anyway,
right.
There you go. This is Old Uncle Randy, and this is for Golfers Golf and Travel. And look forward to seeing Lawrence Sigmund at the 2026 PGA Merchandise Show, booth 1800A. So long.
That's
Be
where
safe.
it starts. It ain't about pushing or shouting the loudest. It's the soft-spoken questions that open up hearts. Kindness don't cost you a nickel, but it'll buy